What's going to happen?
Good evening. We're going to call our meeting to order. Today is Monday, February 5th, 2024. This is the Monroe Township Board of Education special meeting. If I could have everybody join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Allen, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
Here.
Ms. Belko? Ms. Bora?
Here.
Ms. DePayne?
Oh, here. Couldn't hear.
Ms. Fabiano?
Here.
Mr. Gorham?
Here.
Ms. Ratner?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Gerby?
Here.
Mr. Tefano. Okay, we have quorum. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Monroe Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published, and electronic notice provided by having the date, time, and place thereof posted September 15th, 2023, and January 26th, 2024, at all schools, on the district website, Home News Tribune, Cranberry Press, and filed with the clerk of the municipality.
Thank you.
Okay?
So good evening. This evening we have really one main item on our agenda, which is a presentation. We have our New Jersey School Board Association representative here with us this evening, Ms. Patty Reese, to discuss the strategic planning format that we're going to be beginning. So it's important to understand that districts across New Jersey partake in strategic planning, and they include all stakeholders. You have your the administration, the board, community members, parents, administration, staff. Anybody who wants to be involved in the process is more than welcome to join the process, and we'll hear more about that from Patty. But I just wanted to start off by saying we did have a strategic plan that was done back in 2020, and that is now coming to an end because it's a 4-year plan. So the administration had reached out to myself and said they wanted to begin a new strategic planning initiative for this year, and that is why we are beginning 2024. So I invite Ms. Reese to come up and do her presentation for us. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint to show up. And I mean, part of what's tonight is to explain the process, not only for board, but for your public. And as Ms. Gerby said, that boards do have strategic planning. They do plan for 3 to 5 years. It really does help focus the district, the board, and the community on a path forward to reach the goals that you want your students to reach. So this is, as I said, just a basic about what's going on, what the process is. This is our agenda for tonight. It's not a very long presentation, but I'm open for questions, and I have some different things to hand out at the end that might explain it a little bit more there. And as Chrissy said, my name is Patty Reese. I'm the New Jersey School Boards Association Field Service Rep for Middlesex, Hudson, and Union counties. I was saying to somebody earlier that I have already in the process in 2024 of doing 2 strategic plans in Middlesex County, so it really is a good process for communities to undertake. What a strategic plan helps you do is create a vision that should direct and motivate the members of your community, of your district, and your educational community to work together for the common good of your students. This slide shows some of the advantage. I didn't realize you had a screen over here. Okay. Some of the advantages of strategic planning. It can be creative and innovative. It's a planning process that is flexible, and as Chrissy said, it really is intended to include all of your constituencies in Monroe Township. It provides a forum for your community to bring forward their aspirations for their students as well. And it starts the ongoing, well, it continues because you have a strategic plan, an ongoing cycle of planning and assessment. It also increases your communication with your community. So it helps you clearly focus, it has a clear focus on decision-making. And it creates a district-wide vision that, as I said, directs and motivates your staff. So why do you plan? What issues are percolating in your township? Are you seeing an enrollment change? Is that possible? Is your population changing? These are all different things that school boards, school districts look at, communities look at when they're doing their strategic planning. Again, more instances on what you might look at, but as I understand, you have a strategic plan, so you just you're looking to continue that process. So this is the basic thing. Yes, you've already decided, I think, that you want the strategic plan. What the strategic plan helps is it starts at the top. You have your district planning goals that come out of your strategic plan, and then you have your board goals. And all these goals cascade down into increasing your student achievement. And that's really what it is. So once you go from district board goals to administrators' goals to building goals, department goals, all the way down to what happens in the classroom, they should all be aligned towards your district goals. So this talks about the components of 3D strategic planning, and 3D strategic planning is dreams, determination, and destiny by design. That's what the 3D stands for. But in what happens in meeting, right now we're going to talk about the commitment of the Board of Education to move forward. In the first meeting, we have some information that comes out. We suggest that the superintendent have a state of the school's address, just to kind of let everybody know what's going on in your district. Then we have your community, the participants here, break off into random small groups to talk about the strengths and challenges of your district. So that all happens in meeting one. And our process is that the meetings are about an hour and a half to two, no longer than 2 hours, just to be respectful of everybody's time. In meeting two, again, we come together as a group, and we talk about move towards coming up with some visions for your district. And then when you move to meeting three, they're no longer random group assignments. By a consensus process, we've come up with broad goal areas, not specific, but broad goal areas. Once you come up with your broad goal areas, then, and everybody agrees on that, then it goes to the administration and they develop the action plans on how to achieve that. They fine-tune the broad goals and then come up with action plans to fine-tune that. We recommend a 3 to 5 year process. You've already done a 4-year, so you're right in that ballpark. And so some goals may take a year to accomplish, some may take 2 or 3, some may take the full 5 years to do that. It depends on the resources that they need and what it is that you want to accomplish. So you might be wondering, and your community might be wondering, who can participate. Basically, everybody can participate. Not only the board members, you want anybody in your community that would like to participate, your staff and your administrators. and students. Students really do add a valuable input to the process. I've had a couple of strategic plans where the students have been a very active part of it. And it really is interesting to listen to their perspective on, they're the boots on the ground, so to speak. So it is interesting to listen. You can talk about inviting your community businesses. I have a list that I can give you of prospective constituencies. And it's not by no means all-inclusive because every town has different constituencies that they might want. When we did mine, when I was on my board, we did one and we included just about anybody we could think of, those that came to the meeting that supported the schools, those that didn't, students, staff, the union. We asked the town council to come, to send a representative, the senior club. So whatever constituencies or groups in your town that you feel would have a valuable input, the more the better, the more inclusive the better. This slide really talks about why you want to have some student participation. It does give them a voice. They are the ones that are work in that are in the schools, and this will impact them. And so, how can you participate? As I said, the 3D is determination, dream, and destiny by design. Oops. Sorry about that. There will be 3 meetings over one a month, over 3 months. As I said, about an hour and a half long, just so we can be focused and be respectful of everybody's time. We ask that, as board members and as your community, just be involved. The way we structure the meetings is at the end of the meeting, within a week after we've come up with, say at the first meeting, we come up with the strengths and challenges, I will write outcomes, what happened and what was the consensus reached in each of the different groups that you can then post on your website. And what that allows is, if somebody can't make the first meeting and you post this information, they can make the second one if they're available. You want as many voices as possible, and we want to make it as all-inclusive as possible. And so that really does help. And then once you've come up with your strategic plan, we recommend that you have periodic updates at your board meetings. So I put this in here. It is a sample calendar of what you might consider. I put meeting 1 in April. It really is what works best for you. We can certainly do it in March. I have, as I said to Chris, I have my calendar here to discuss dates. I also, let me hand this out. I have some sample agendas, and let me just go through what I have as I'm going to hand this out. It lists what is included in the strategic planning process. I have a resource guide that pretty much outlines every meeting, what is needed, what needs to be done. This is the list of constituencies that you might consider. I put in what you see up there, this sample calendar, and then just the first, a sample agenda of what the first meeting would look like. Is very, as I said, we keep to a timeline, and then on the back is always, on all of them, like a scratch sheet on what you can work with. Let me just, I didn't want to hand this out.
Sorry.
I know. Before I had a chance to explain it. I don't want to explain too much.
We'll make some copies.
Okay, I should have more. Let me get, before I had 11 copies. I do. The second part, but I actually thought I made 12. For the people that aren't here, do you want to take some?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and do you have any questions about the process?
Now that we've been initialized the process coming in, would you be here to facilitate it? Is that how it works?
I'm sorry?
Would you be facilitating
Yes.
this process?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I would be at every meeting facilitating the process,
Okay, thank you.
for sure. That's what we do.
Does anybody have any other questions?
So if you look at the resource guide, it identifies the topics of each of the 3 meetings, what's needed. And for the first meeting, I do have some guidelines to give to the superintendent about what they might want to think about including in the state of the school's address. Some do it verbally, some do it verbally and with a presentation or a video. It really doesn't. We also, some districts, and the one I'm doing in one of them had close to 100 people show up at their meetings, between I would say 70 and 80 people every time, and generally at the end of the night, we asked the small groups to come together and report out on what they had discussed and what their consensus was, and try to find common themes that way. In a large group, what I've done successfully is have what we call a gallery walk. We use these big Post-it notes that you can write, the groups can write their decisions on, and then people walk around and look at them. And if you have a small group, then you have somebody report out. If you have a small total group, you have somebody report out to the larger group, what their discussion was, what their thoughts were. It's flexible based on what your needs are and your community needs are.
And the meetings that you would have, those wouldn't be Board of Education meetings, correct? They would be like a committee meeting? We wouldn't have a quorum of the board?
You could. It varies from boards. Some boards, the full board comes. I would recommend that if the full board comes, or if you have a quorum, then you notice it as a meeting.
Right.
Then you open it as a meeting for the purpose of the strategic planning process, and then whenever at the end of the evening you close the meeting. But it wouldn't be a standard public meeting. I mean, it's a public meeting, but with public comment, because really the public comment happens in the small groups. Really, but some districts, they send a committee of board members to attend. Many board members want to participate. It really is what you guys want. Do you want to be part of the process? And there's nothing wrong with that. The only recommendation is that when the first 2 meetings, the groups are randomly selected. The point of that is that you have different people that don't normally, you don't want cliques of people sitting. You want people to interact from all walks of Monroe Township. And so that if the board members come, we just ask that you go by that and not all sit in 1 or 2 groups, because then it tends to overwhelm and stifle discussion. And you really do want to, I mean, when I did mine, when I was a board member and we did it, it really is valuable to sit and listen to what your community is saying.
So for a school district our size, the ideal group of people, in your opinion, should be how many? Because if typically, like a board meeting like today, there is barely a few people in attendance. So this would mean that we should reach out and request people to come, like send invitations, because I'm reading about invitations here.
And I would say there really is no ideal number. It really is however many and whoever shows up from your township that wants to participate. We really do, the process should be welcoming to as many people as possible, as that want to show.
So if we typically, if you are in a situation where very few constituents show up, it's more like a discussion off the board with those few, because I see that the ideal situation is you seat 8 to 10 people on a table and have probably a few tables of that for discussion. So if we don't have that kind of an attendance, do we postpone the process, or we do with whoever's in the room?
Yeah, I think I think once you advertise, and that's why waiting until at least March for the first meeting, if that's the way we go, to advertise as much as possible. If you want to postpone the process, that's not really my decision. That's the board's decision, but I've not had that happen, and we tend to just work with whoever shows up, and you generally have a core group that show up, and it may fluctuate and change somewhat from meeting to meeting, but I've not really had like very few show up.
What are your thoughts on gathering inputs beforehand through emails or a public forum of sorts that's virtual?
I have some sample type wording for invitations that you could send out, that the district could send out to people, but generally advertising on your website, if you have the system, something home with the students, whether that's email, and sometimes in specific constituencies, if you're thinking you want to invite like the town council or the seniors club, a letter from the district, from the superintendent or the board president, and specifically inviting them to send a representative helps. When I was in another district, they had some people from the historic commission. They really did tremendous outreach. We also and you'll see on this, some districts do provide snacks. Sometimes breaking bread together helps break the ice. That doesn't have to be sandwiches. It could just be cookies and coffee, tea, and water, something like that. But again, it doesn't have to be. That really is a district decision on what they want, but it does tend to break the ice if you have that together.
I just had 2 questions.
Sure, Mr. Ratner?
So I guess the first, you sort of just had addressed, but I was wondering if maybe you have a list of potential community groups that would be appropriate to reach out to. Like, I know you had mentioned the Historic Preservation Commission, which I know we have one of those in our town, and obviously the idea is to get different people from different groups. And then maybe a sample letter to send to those groups asking for a representative from them. Is that something that you have maybe from working with other groups, of potential groups to reach out to? And then also, I guess my second question along those lines was, you had mentioned, students also participating. Do you recommend having students from all of the different schools, including the elementary school level? And if so, again, is it that you suggest a certain amount of students per school so that it's consistent? Or is it whomever wants to come can come?
I mean, as far as the students goes, it really does depend. Some districts do just high school students. Some do middle school students. It really is what you feel is, who you feel could have an important part of the process. But as far as how many, students' lives are very active, and especially if you're doing this in the spring, when spring activities start to kick in, it might be tough to get a specific amount of students. So just, I think, being open and welcoming to however many show up and including them in the process really is the way to go about it. But certainly target and send emails and send invitations to the different student groups. That's fine.
Yeah, and Kate, Ms. Reese gave us a packet that we'll save one for you, where it does list out an entire page of prospective stakeholders that we should reach out to. And then she also
Okay.
did mention that the New Jersey School Boards does have sample invitations and letters that they can provide to us as well.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And I think with the students, that's great. I know that we have a liaison group with the middle school students as well as the high school students. And we have 2 student board member representatives from the high school. So they may be a great group to reach out to and invite to be part of that process.
And I mean, they, as I said, the process is really great if they can attend every meeting, but if they can't, they can also participate and be part of the process and have their input heard.
So the
Right. I
community
mean,
members that do
even-
come out, to participate, would you recommend that they be at each of the meetings, or would it be something where you could come to one meeting, maybe not the second meeting? Because I think sometimes that may scare people off a little bit,
If you show
committing
up
to
for
3
3
times.
months.
Would it be acceptable if they could only attend maybe 2 or 1 to be
Yes.
part of it?
Well, we'll encourage input whenever they can come. It's ideal if people can come to all 3, but we all have to recognize that people and students' lives are very busy, and so to have them, whatever part of the process they can participate in, I see as only beneficial
Great.
to the
Okay.
district.
Does anybody have any other questions? Administration? No? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We can talk about dates after. I know we didn't have a resolution on the agenda. If we wanted to make a motion to move forward with the process with this plan, then we would get a contract from school boards that would then go through committee and then be for vote on the February 21st meeting. Yes.
Make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Gorham, want to make a motion to move forward with the 3D strategic planning with New Jersey School Boards?
Second?
Okay, does anybody have any questions? All those in, actually, roll call, right? Ms. Allen?
Ms. DePayne,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Gorham,
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez,
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano,
Yes.
Ms. Ratner,
Yes.
Ms. Bora,
Yes.
Ms. Skirby.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll receive a contract from,
I'll
Oh, you-
have our administrative assistant send that out tomorrow. Well, I'll ask her to send it out tomorrow. I don't know what her process is on that, but to the BA and copy you.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
You're
And then
welcome.
we'll have it, like I said, it'll go through definitely our finance committee, and then it comes to the full board then for a vote at our February 21st meeting.
And in the meantime, if you have any dates, just shoot me an email and we can make sure, I can make sure I have them open.
Would it be possible, it might make more sense because last time we tried to get you, you were very busy. Could you provide us some dates that you're available that aren't taken yet? Would that make sense in March?
No,
Because-
I certainly can do that.
Does that make sense?
I mean,
Rather than go back and forth, we come up with some dates, you say, I'm so sorry, I'm not available, but if you
Right.
say, because we need you, so you're more
Right.
important, so we need your dates.
I mean, do you have a sense of what nights you might, like what day of the weeknight? What works best for your community, or doesn't it matter? I can just send you some dates, and I don't have a whole lot in March, but I can certainly send them out. April's a little more open.
Patty, what dates do you basically have open? What other districts or something have taken? Like, if you have a district that's doing all Mondays, maybe we could do all Wednesdays, do you know what I'm saying? Is there a pattern on your schedule?
Is there a pattern? That's a good question. I mean, and I'll tell you, right, in March I have 2 Mondays, 2 Wednesdays, and 2 Thursdays at the end of the month. But 1, 2, 2.
I
We could do.
mean, I would think if there's Wednesdays available, I think our community is
Stick with the
used to meetings being on Wednesdays, and I know like the performing groups try to stay away from Wednesdays sometimes because it's a board meeting night and things of that nature. So I don't know if those are available, as long as they don't conflict with meeting dates that we already have. That might be something to consider.
I mean, if we wanted to say with Wednesday, possibly the 20th of March?
I have Wednesday, the 20th, as the first, for the meeting one. I do have,
And then potentially we could move the committees then
Yeah.
to Monday.
I mean, I have
March is
that
the
free, so I can
27th.
pencil it in until,
5th and the 27th.
Yeah,
just to make sure it's there. So that's
What's
1, 2,
The
3.
5th and the 27th of March, we have meetings.
And then the committee meetings would be the
Final budget
19th and 20th before.
But if we move the committees to Monday, the 18th.
Must be take her on Monday, the 18th.
Thinking every third Wednesday?
Do you happen to have? And I respect what they're saying about Wednesdays, but rather than move all of our meetings for 1922, have the 18th available by any chance?
I'm sorry?
March 18th?
No, I'm in another district doing a strategic plan that
I
night.
think Mondays are kind of
I
hard
can't
to-
do Mondays at all.
In March, the Mondays I have in March are the 11th and the 25th.
No, I can't do either one.
And then the 25th.
Say that again?
11th, we don't have a meeting.
What about
I
Thursday?
mean, we can do this
20th?
offline too.
Yeah.
Just saying, you know, not that I mind doing this, but.
No,
I
no,
know
but
you have-
it's-
you have
it has a
other-
good idea, though, at least you gave us some idea.
Yeah.
So we know, but if you want to go ahead and send the email with your available dates,
Okay,
then to both of us, and then Ms. Skirby, of course, speaks to the board,
Mhm.
and I'll speak to my administration as well.
okay. Can do
Thank you
that.
very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Does
you very
anybody
much,
have any other
Patty.
questions? Okay, no?
I did have one question.
Oh,
if I
sure,
could.
Ms. Bork,
Do
absolutely.
we have access
You're not- you
to
can't
the
hear you.
last strategic plan that, and can the board, would you be able to share that with the board, the entire board? What was done in the last time we went through this process, what was it that was the final outcome, and what we did accomplish or didn't accomplish? That'll give us a
Yeah,
good.
that would be.
So we
good.
can,
That's a good idea.
Dr. Lehman has a copy.
Okay.
I was just one of the participants. I saw my name in there under attendance. So we have one that, the 20th to the 24th, 2020 to 2024. We can make copies, or actually we can upload it under the board docs, and then you can have access to it. So you could see where we were and so forth, and state of the district would be something. Now, from what I'm understanding, the first meeting would start with the state of the district. Is that correct?
It's the first meeting, what?
State of the district would be the first presentation at the first meeting, correct?
Yeah, the state of the schools.
Thank you.
And you also, when you're looking at your calendar, I think you want to consider if there's like the school, any of the schools have
Yes,
a
we will.
play or a concert or something that might draw a lot of parents to that event, and board members want to go to that event, you want to stay away from that,
Sure.
I would think.
Also, because I'll, just so you're aware, and everybody else who might be interested, the strategic plan is under the site shortcuts on our district website. It's a 76-page document, so it has a lot of the information there from 2020 to 2024.
Oh, it is.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? No? All right. Thank you, Ms. Reese. We
Thank you.
really appreciate you coming
Thank
out
you
here
so
this
much.
evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is public forum. Anybody wishing to come up and address the board has 4 minutes. Is there anybody wishing to speak? Good evening.
Good evening, Pradeep Melam, Monroe Township. So does this strategic planning involve our infrastructure development as well or not?
Yes.
So can we add the long-term facility requirements or long-term facility maintenance plan to the strategic planning as well?
Yes, we
Like
can.
as one of the input to the strategic planning?
Yes.
Thank you. The one more request for everybody is like the budget sessions are coming up for NJ, and they didn't open for registration to give the testimony or to request for more funding for our schools. So it's not there yet, but it might open this week or next week. So I request like every board member and public to register for that and like let our voices heard. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. I know I've been checking that periodically, and it has not opened yet. Good evening.
Good evening, Raghu Chituri, 23 Green Ash. I just wanted to ask, I think you already said that there were previous strategic plans are available online, right? The previous strategic plans are available online to review?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, just, we planned something in the middle of the, I think last strategic plan was done 4 years ago, right? Did we have any reviews in between, like, whether we are progressing with what we planned? Or did we have to make any changes to the already planned something, like some action item that you plan? And maybe something changed in between, some dynamics, like maybe the school enrollment has increased, or some kind of criteria that you based out or based on which you have planned. If that has changed, the criteria has changed, what action plans have you done in these last 4 years, if you have done any changes to the action plan? If not, like, let's say, going forward, how often do you review these action plans?
So that's an excellent question, and it would make sense to work smart. So what we're going to do is we have a strategic plan. Fortunately, although we've had probably 3 or 4 superintendents since the strategic plan has been created, we were still here. I was in the capacity of a principal. Dr. Lehman, I believe, was a principal, and then the assistant superintendent. So what we'll do is it would make sense. We always look at our strategic plan. It's something that's updated constantly. Even though we haven't created one that's new, we've looked at our goals, our actions, and our outcomes in the last couple of years moving forward. So we absolutely will take a look at the plan that's available online. Thank you for saying that. And we could also provide anything that the board might need, because it would make sense to see what have we accomplished. And I think what we could do is in the State of the District address, and we used to do state of school addresses and then the state of the district address. It makes sense for us to use that as perhaps a starting point, a diving board, whatever verbiage you want to utilize, because it makes sense to see what have we done. We don't want to create a plan that's just created on paper. We want to create a plan in which we examine, we look, we revise, we move forward, we see what works, we see what doesn't work. So that is an excellent comment. Thank you for coming up and saying that. It makes total sense. And I can see that Ms. Reese, who's the pro over there, is shaking her head yes, because that makes sense. So we absolutely are going to be respectful. What we like to look at any strategic plan or any of our plans, we call them almost living documents, because they have no value if they're just a document that we get approved and we move on. In order for them to have value, we have to look and revisit constantly. We just had a meeting last week and about a month ago about the strategic plan, because it's something that's ongoing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Right. Are there anybody else wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we will close public forum. And just before we close, I just want to say I did receive notice that the town council did approve our shared services agreement this evening. So that is a very big deal here in our district, because as we know, we have been trying to get this funding to fix Applegarth School, the HVAC system and the roof, for almost a decade. And we're finally have the funding in place between the state funding and what the township now is going to help us with. So very excited to report that they approved that this evening. With that, the next scheduled Board of Education meeting is February 21st, 2024. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.